Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Apex Online Racing. The Drivers' Championship may be decided here in F2, but I'm sure it will still be a fascinating race around the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache. It's a bit of a festival time for the end of the season. Round 12 out of 12 here for Season 19. It is the Brazilian Grand Prix. Luke Etheridge here, taking you with the action along with Austin Smith. And as I said, Drivers' Championship all sorted. Constructors Championship still up for grabs. Two teams can win that. Mercedes currently find themselves in the lead of the Constructors Championship. Haas can stop them, but they are 23 points behind. So Haas need at least one car on the podium. Realistically, they're probably going to need both. But, Austin, they have won the last two races. And, of course, they got that 1-2 in Canada. So they're in good form at the moment, the Haas team.
Yes, they really are. Sammy Bean, however, has been falling off of that good form again. If you look back to the last race in Austria, where he finished just outside the points in P11. It was Thyman, who is absolutely blazing fire right now. 4 podiums in a row ever since the 8th race in Australia around Albert Park. He's been borderline unstoppable and finally crowned himself with his first AOR victory last week in Austria.
Yeah, as you said, it was a great performance for Thyman. He's really stepped up his game in the last few races. Just not quite enough to have a chance of still winning the Drivers' Championship, but he has got second place in that. It will be Kiski who will take the championship, the Mercedes driver, that amazing run in the middle of the season, doing it for him, where he had 3 victories in a row. So a fantastic performance from him. 5 podiums in a row in total. Hasn't had a podium since that one, but every race he's been in, he's managed to score points. He has just been absolutely fantastic. As we said, Diamond, 4 podiums in a row. He's currently second on 134 points. Battle for... Well, there would have been a battle for third place. Well, there still is, yeah. Iamotti is here. He's making his return after missing the last 2 races. He's now dropped 5 points behind Johan for third. And Iamotti must look back at how he started with the season and probably be a tiny bit disappointed with how it ended up.
Yeah, 2 wins in a row. You can't really ask for a better start than that. And then it all went to shambles. 12th place in the 3rd race around Silverstone, and then he started to recover slightly, step by step. 8th in Japan, 6th in Italy, 4th around Kota, and then 3rd in China, and then it went to shambles again. So he had a run where he improved every single race, and then he dropped down to 12th again for Australia, and then a 9th place for the German Grand Prix. And he decided, you know what, the last 2 races that we've had, rounds 10 and 11, I can't even make that. So he wasn't... obviously, he didn't decide. Was a little bit joking there. But, you know, he wasn't able to make those 2. And that's when all the championship hopes for him completely went down the drain. And now he's looking to fight for 3rd place. And he could even fall down to 5th. I mean, if we look at the standings right now, he is 5 points behind Johan, but he's also only 11 points ahead of Aero.
Yeah, and Aero, you might remember last week, it was him and Jordan Polska had a coming together on the final lap in the middle sector at the Austrian Grand Prix. That is what allowed Feynman to come through and take his first victory of the season and first ever AOR victory, and that means we are now still on a crazy run where we've had 7 different winners in the last 7 races, and Aero not being one of them, and he's showing good form at the moment. We're currently on board with championship winner Kiski, done a fantastic job here in F2 this season. He's just heading round now, Young Cow, towards the end of this lap. Extremely short circuit, 3rd shortest on the actual F1 calendar, the shortest that has been used for AOR Season 19. Only Monaco and Mexico are shorter. As you can see, it's an extremely quick lap as well, as Casey comes across the line. 9th position for now, 108.231. But that is still incredibly close at the top. We've said this all season, how close qualifying has been here in F2. And you can see top 10 cars currently separated by half a second.
Yeah, and it's going to remain that way throughout the final race, the final qualifying rather of the season. You can believe that if we look at the leaderboard times, which I always love to do, it's quite astonishing as well. We have Samya Bean, who is the fastest there of all the drivers here on the grid. He posted a 1 minute 7.564. However, second place was Loney with a 1 minute 7.569. So we're talking 5 milliseconds between the two of them. And even if we go down the order, we have 16 of the 20 drivers within half a... Oh, sorry, not just 20 drivers, it's more, because I've also obviously counted reserve drivers. And since we have another 3 reserve drivers, so 23... That means 19 drivers of the 23, including the 3 reserve drivers, are within half a second. That is absolutely remarkable. And I would assume the other 4 are maybe a little bit of sandbagging. The other 4 are Aero, talked about him, and he's already... If you look at the time he's posted, 1 minute 8.1... He's already improved over his time trial lap by 2/10, so certainly some sandbagging going on there. Johan, the same can be said about him. He's improved on his time trial lap time only by 8 milliseconds, but it's early in the session, and he's already faster, and the grip levels only go up from here, so maybe some sandbagging there as well. Then we have Giggs and Hercules, who... Is he here tonight? No, he is one of the reserve drivers, but he's not here.
No, Hercules not here tonight. We have got 15 drivers. Pretty good turnout for end of season race. And it's currently Jordan Polska. Again, 500ths separating the top 2, with Thyman just behind Suso there in third. He's had a pretty decent season as well, the Williams driver. Now in a full-time role, started as a reserve. Dynastics fourth, and we won't forget that incredible race in China where Dynastics went from having no points to taking what turned out to be a net pole position after Antoine had connection issues and a victory. And Furhan in fifth. Furhan's been involved in a few incidents, but he is a quick driver. Maybe he could spring a surprise in this final race of the season. Of course, the final race we'll have on F1 2019 with the new game coming out around about 5 weeks time. I still need to get that thing pre-ordered, or try and pick it up cheap at the last minute.
Yeah, I still need to get it pre-ordered as well, but we still have 5 weeks, so there's still some time to do that. But yeah, you mentioned Furhan. He's been struggling a little bit with, let's say, on-track behavior during the race, racecraft, if you will. But he's young, as you can see. There is a 2004 in his name. He's either 15 or 16. I don't know whether he had his birthday already this year or not, but he's young. He's gonna get there. He's gonna learn, and he is quick. That is the one thing that we can for sure say. His leaderboard time 1 minute 7.6. So he's certainly up there, 5th best of all the drivers whose lap times I've found, and of all the drivers who are here, he is 4th, because Aresi in the Alfa Romeo is not here tonight. He's right ahead of him. So 4th place in the leaderboards, at least, of all the drivers.
Yeah, and it is amazing to think that someone with that pace has only been in the points once this season, and that was a 7th, way back at the first race of the season, many months ago now, back in Bahrain. Jordan Polska's just got even faster with a 107.800. Loney now up into 3rd. Sam Yabin was 4th for a bit before Suso's retaken that 3rd place. And Sam Yabin and Aero on identical lap times. That gives you a clue just how close it is here. Thyman, what can he do? Doesn't need to find much improvement to take provisional pole position. And there we go. Just over half a session to go. Thyman continuing that expert form. Both Haas cars looking good at the moment. And a reminder, they are 23 points behind the Mercedes team at the moment. 44 available once you add in the fastest lap, and they're looking pretty good at the moment. Loney in 4th though, and Loney, we know he's got pace. He helped Mercedes get the 1-2 in Italy, then There was another one too, roles reversed in America, where Loney took his victory, but since then, 1 points finish, and it seems to have just gone off the boil for some reason. And again, we know he's quick, but just hasn't managed to get it together in the races.
Yeah, it needs to be said, 3 of the last 5 races for Loney were retirements, so that certainly played into it. And a 15th place in Austria, where he also had, I think, some kind of incident, and then the 10th place in Australia, where, again, really, the last 5 races for him have just been incident-riddled. I think that's what it ultimately comes down to. He has the pace, he has the speed, he just needs to steer clear of other drivers on track and hope that, either they don't ram into him, or, sometimes, the thing is, if you have 1 or 2 of these incidents, that's my firm belief. If you have 1 or 2 of these incidents, there's nothing you can do. It just happens. But if you have it this constantly, where race after race after race, you just have accidents with somebody, you just make contact all the time, you get spun around and so on and so forth, there's something about your driving that gets this response, let's say. There's something about you as well. It's not just always the others and they're doing wrong and they're the bad ones. Maybe pulling yourself back and being like, you know what, I'm not going to get into this fight right now. I live to fight another day, as something that you hear a lot from race drivers, sim race drivers, real race drivers. Living to fight another day is so crucial, and sometimes you might think the opportunity is there, but it really isn't. And, if you look back on it, you see, yeah, okay, fair enough. But in the heat of the moment, maybe it is sometimes better to just pull yourself back, be like, you know what, I'd rather have, let's say, a safe 5th place than a risky step on the podium.
Yeah, I agree with what you say, especially about sometimes if you've been involved in that many incidents. I do remember a quote from David Coulthard when Pastor Maldonado was around, and it was David talking about his final season in Formula 1, and he said eventually, once he's been involved in that many incidents, he began to realise that he was the common factor in all of these incidents, and that maybe, just maybe, he might have something to do with it. I was on board then with Limbo, but he's unfortunately disconnected from the lobby. In 11th place in the Alfa Romeo, he's began to show some of his old form in the last few races, getting his best finish of the season 2 rounds ago in Canada. What can Iamotti do? It's amazing, like 2 people that have won multiple races this season, Kiski and Iamotti, were 12th and 13th. Kiski's quickly swapped that around as he gets his way up into 3rd, less than a 10th off pole position for now. We've got a third of the session remaining. It's still Thyman up there. Kiski very close to the back of Jordan Polska, and Iamotti, he gets into the 1 minute 07s. That is enough to move him up into 9th position for now. And we've got Johan on a hot lap as well, 12th at the moment in the Toro Rosso. He is fighting with Iamotti for that place on the championship rostrum, at least. Nearly 2 tenths up as he comes round Young Sao, the final real corner of this circuit, and then just flat out through these final couple of kinks that end the lap, sticking over to the left-hand side as far as possible in that Toro Rosso. Can he find an improvement? Yeah, he moves up to 9th as well. Identical times to Pasty. You've got Loney. It's thousandths of a second ahead of Sam Ubeen. We said it's close, and there you go. The evidence is showing it. Sam Ubeen now goes fastest. We've got a Haas 1-2.
Yeah, once again, not the first time we've seen it in Canada as well. Obviously, at the end of the race, here we have it in qualifying, but certainly a good situation considering the as Thyman might actually improve here, and he does not. He does, yeah. Okay, I have a little bit of a timing glitch there, but he does 1 minute 7.5, so he keeps it a Haas 1-2. Only switches around the order a little bit, but yeah, we've seen it before, and it is a really, really good situation now, considering the Constructors Championship. They are 23 points behind Mercedes. Mercedes right now, Kiski in 6th, Loney in 7th. So, if this is how the race finishes, we're talking 43 points for Haas. We're talking, what is that, 14 for Mercedes. So Haas would actually win this right now.
Yeah, still obviously 4 minutes to go in this session, and a 36 lap race, and it being Brazil, it wouldn't be too surprising if, like Austria, rain makes an appearance. There's always been some fascinating Brazilian Grand Prix in the wet, and as last year proved, you don't need rain either to have a fantastic race around here. Pasties, he's just heading very slowly around, I think just getting a bit of a sighter lap on those soft tyres this time around, not really pushing too hard. He's in 8th at the moment, his teammate is 12th. Should we maybe talk about some of our favourite moments of the season? Because I think one of mine that's just going to stick out is how Dynastics went from being not really around in this championship, in the low end of the points, to all of a sudden having the pace to win a race, and he seems to have been consistently in the points since then.
Yeah, he had one retirement, that was in Canada. Apart from that, you know, he's been very consistent, 9th, 6th, 10th. But yeah, that win out of absolutely nowhere was remarkable. I don't think anyone expected it. Anyone thought it was possible, but Dynastics just he got a little bit of help from the game, and or maybe not from the game, but from Antoine's internet connection, deciding to disconnect him. But apart from that, I mean, Dynastics, he was under pressure quite a lot in that race, and still he did not crack. He did not break, brought it home, and got the win. That was really, really fantastic. I have to say, for me, personally, I think it was one moment that was very remarkable was Jordan Polska in his first race in AOR ever. First race ever. He's never been in this league before. Comes here, first race, Germany, and wins it. Just, shows up on the scene, first race, win.
Yeah, that was a fantastic performance by Jordan Polska. In fact, Germany was definitely one of the standout racers. We had Suso trying to make his way up through the field on a different strategy, getting himself a podium. Jordan Polska getting his first win. I think we had about 6 or 7 cars fighting from I think 4th all the way down to 10th place. It was a fantastic race there in Germany. We're into the final 2 minutes then of this qualifying session. Most of the cars now heading out for their out laps. Still Jompalainen in the pits. He's yet to set a lap time, but it doesn't seem to matter where he starts a race. If he does seem to get the chance to start a race, he will find a way of sneaking into the points ever so smooth on his tyres. And you can see on board now with Loney improving in the first sector. He's just come to the end of the second DRS straight. You can use DRS twice round here on the pit straight and on the back straight there. The Retta Aposta, not really the easiest overtaking place though, into turn 4 at the Descida de Largo. Very tough, and the corner seems to go downhill away from you. You will see a lot of cars running wide there, and the curve not that forgiving if you hit it. It is very easy to spear yourself into the wall, and that could easily be race over for these guys. How is Loney doing at the moment? 3/4 of a tenth up on his personal best. Needs to find a bit more in this final sector to move ahead of his teammate and Jordan Polska. It's incredibly close. A small improvement here could easily get him onto the second row with the grid, mixing it up with the Williams, and in the end didn't find that much time, found 0.08 of a second, stays in a slightly more safe 7th place than it was for now. And I say slightly more safe because instantly Johan beating him. He now moves up into 7th in the Toro Rosso. Seeing Kiski, he's not improving either, so I think 6th is going to be the best that the Mercedes team are going to manage, and he's pulling into the pit lane. That'll be music to the ears of the guys at Haas.
Yeah, definitely. Means the Mercedes drivers can't improve. Loney, I think, yeah, he's on a cooldown lap, so for him the qualifying is over as well. Same with Johan. Let's see, who do we have? Jordan Polska is starting a lap with about 5 seconds left. Just came across the line there. Jompalainen, meanwhile, all the way down in 15th. Didn't even bother to get out of the pit lane. So he... I don't know if he does have a qualifying banner or not, but... yeah, no qualifying lap for him. Giggs, 14th. Limbo, 13th. They have already set their lap times. Yamoti's coming towards the line. What can he do? And does not improve. Lost out on his previous time by 1/4 of a second. Who else do we have? We have, I think,
Aero's just come across line.
Yeah, Aero going provisional pole there. Side by side with one of the Mercedes. Surprisingly, next up is, I think, no, that's not Furhan, that's Pasty, the other Renault. Hard to tell. And I have a weird timing glitch. He does improve to P9. There we go. It takes a second or two for me to refresh. But yeah, moves up to P9 ahead of his teammate who's now coming across the line. Farhan, what can he do? I think that's an improvement. And does it update?
No, I think he actually stayed in 10th position there. We've
okay.
got Slimbo heading towards the line, but I think he'd already finished his qualifying session. So it is Aero on pole, yet to get a win this season. Highest person in the championship not to have a win, and he could very easily make it. 8 different winners from 8 races. Haas will be happy with their performances. Diamond second, Samuel being third. Jordan Polska's always up there lately in 4th. Suso 5th, and the Mercedes drivers 6th and 8th. But given how close it was in that qualifying session, I'm not sure too much how you can read into it. Everyone who set a lap time was within 0.8 of a second. This is going to be a fascinating Brazilian Grand Prix. There's last week's race winner, second at the moment on the grid. What can he do? But here are the qualifying standings from the final race of this season. It's a Dutch and VRT 1-2 with Aero and Thyman. Samuel Bean stopping it being a 1-2-3 for the Vortex Racing team. Jordan Polska there in 4th. Kometa getting another driver in the top 5. Suso is 5th. Kiski 6th. Johan 7th. Loney 8th. 2 Reynolds 9th and 10th. Dynastics 11th. He will have fresh tyres, and we know how important that could be. Iamati is 12th. Slimbo 13th. Giggs 14th. And Jon Palainen not setting a lap time. Not sure that will compromise him too much. I think he knows his 1 lap pace isn't exactly where he would like it to be. He's generally towards the back of the qualifying grid, but as I said earlier, he's always smooth on the tyres, always tends to keep it clean, and will probably make his way up into the points at some point this race. Every race he has finished in, he has scored points. He has had a disconnect in one race where he hasn't started. Kiski, he's scored points also in every race he has taken part in. But I think the only drivers to have finished every race so far this season, you've got Thyman, 11 finishes out of 11, only once outside the points. Johan, 3 times he's been outside the points, but he's finished every race. Iamati has missed the last 2, but every race he's took part in, he has finished. And if you look way down the order of the championship, Giggs as well hasn't scored points since round 4 in Japan, but he's finished every race, and that is some achievement when you consider some of the weather we've had in a few races, especially last time out when it was extremely unpredictable.
Yeah, and one thing that I would have to say about Giggs is it is even harder to finish every race when most of the time you finish outside the points. He finished inside the points twice out of 11 races, so 9 out of 11 times he was outside the points, and yet every single time he kept on, he tried his best. Even got 1 fastest lap in Germany, which obviously didn't turn into a point because he was 16th. But it just says something about resilience to have a driver who just presses on, tries his best, hopes for the best. And in the end, it really didn't pan out for him all too much. But yeah, it's certainly something to be respected.
Yeah, he is the leading car on the medium tyres. Only himself and Jon Palainen going for those. Everyone else on the soft, we're expecting pit window for those on the soft to open rounds about lap 14 to 16 for change onto the mediums. These two starting on the mediums, coming in around about 20 to 22 to go on the soft tyres. Takes about 19 seconds for a pit stop here, and you have got that very long twisting pit exit which takes you out past the exit of turn 3, and you can easily get caught up in someone else's battles down that DRS straight. And the end of that straight is one of the corners that you've mentioned we should watch out for, but also turn 6 where you can overtake at Ferrajova at the top of the hill if you're feeling brave enough.
Yeah, and if you are feeling brave enough and you can't make it stick through turn 6, you still have time to complete the overtake pretty much until turn 8 if you are inclined to do so. That corner does lend itself into the heavy braking zone of turn 8 then to make the overtake stick.
Yeah, and I'm sure there'll be a few guys braving it out. I think Slimbo's still having connection issues, so it wouldn't surprise me if he ends up leaving the race entirely. So he might only have 14 here as he just rejoins in time for the start. Aero's got exactly the view he needs. But I think both the Haas cars will be hoping to get past pretty quickly, as they still have that chance for the championship battle for the constructors. We wait now for the lights to come on for the final time in AOR Season 19. We are underway here at Interlagos. It is a good start from Thyman alongside Aero. He's going to try and get him into turn 1 at the centre S. Thyman going down the inside. Aero should still be able to hold on for the second part, but again that gives Thyman the inside, so he takes the lead here. Samuel Bean's managed to hold on to third place for now from Jordan Polska, but he's quickly looking behind. Everyone safely through the centre S. Aero looking to the outside, not able to do anything this time around, so it's still Thyman, Aero, Samuel Bean, Jordan Polska, Suso, Kiski in 6th. He's battling with Johan and Loney. Pasties dropped down a couple of places to 11th at the end. Well, at the end of the first sector, but everyone's still getting through cleanly. You can see there, Iamoti's gone up 2, Giggs also going up 2, surprising given the fact that he started on the harder tyres, as he's now swapping places with Dynastics, but perfect start for Thyman, exactly what he would have needed.
Yeah, and for Aero, really not the start he wanted, because obviously you want to be that guy, the 8th driver in the 8th race to win the race, and Aero right now is behind Thyman. However, nothing's lost. There's plenty of overtaking opportunities here for the next 35 laps. One coming up right here at the end of the long straight. He's not close enough, but yeah, that looks good there. And look, let's see, where do we have other position changes? Pasties and Dynastics drop down. Limbo, obviously, I think he is now back in control of his car. He missed part of the start, really pretty much the first sector, but ever since he is back in control of his car, however, he is lagging seriously. Very, very unfortunate to see. Giggs and Jompalainen obviously gained a position each. Iamotti made up 2 places. He is the one winner here, really, of the start. Not only did he overtake Dynastics, but also Pasty, who lost 2 positions, not only to his teammate Furhan, but also, as I said, Iamotti, the sole McLaren on the grid here, now being in the top 10. Yeah, in 10th place, finding himself sandwiched in between the 2 Renaults at the moment. Furhan went slightly deep there in the middle sector. Setup's always a compromise here at Interlagos. The 1st and 3rd sector very short, very fast as well. That middle sector all about downforce and having good mechanical grip and stability in your car. Out in front though, it's a Haas leading with a Williams in 2nd. Samuel Bean having to go defensive from Jordan Polska, who's going to try and go all the way round the outside. Not able to do so, but if he gets a better exit, he will find himself with the DRS heading down the back straight. They both have it.
Yeah, they've both got the DRS, obviously, but I think Polska's got a better exit. He's going to try and go down the inside. In fact, there's been contact between the 2 of them. That's forced Samuel Bean way off the circuit. Jordan Polska has got the move done. Suso not close enough to get past, and it is a difficult corner to overtake on that. The corner falls away from you. It's not as heavy a braking zone as you thought, and we saw that in the 2019 F1 race when Ricciardo and Magnussen came together. The Haas seem to be in the walls around that corner, but he has managed to get his way through, and Limbo has retired from the session and safety car. Yeah, that is the outside the exit of turn 8. We mentioned it before, if you can't make it overtake, stick out of into turn 6, you have time until turn 8. Limbo, however, was pretty much completely on his own there. He made a mistake the lap before, which cost him about 5-6 seconds, and I think that was just another mistake there that then ended his race, unfortunately. And that is the first safety car period of the race. What are the drivers going to do? I think most of them are going to stay out. I would expect, well, most of them have stayed out. We have Loney and Pasty in the pits, though, which I find a little bit surprising. What are they going to do? Hards for Loney and hards for Pasty as well. So they're committing to the one stop and trying to get to the end on those hard tyres. I mean, it could work if you gain time in the pits, but it's only a 19-second pit loss here. Yeah, that for one, and for 2, the hards I don't think last that long. You're going to have to do some serious tyre management if you want these hard tyres to last. Let's say the safety car comes back in at the end of lap 6, which usually this early on you have a 3-lap safety car period, maybe 2, but usually 3. That would be 30 laps
if it comes in at the end of lap 6. And oh yeah, I think the hards do have a lifespan of about 26 to 28 laps. If you're, depending on your personal tire wear, if you manage them extremely well, you can stretch them out 30 laps. However, I think you are getting to the point where you are in danger of suffering a puncture.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how that strategy works out for Loney and Pasty. Maybe they're hoping for another safety car after this one, just to save their tyres a bit more. I think it was too early for the majority of the field, obviously, to pit. It was only those two that came in. Thyman still in the lead from Aero and Jordan Polska. We've got that VRT 1-2-3 that we saw last time out happening again here. They've got Samuel Bean and Suso behind. Obviously, with Loney's pit stops, Dynastics got a 10-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. I imagine he'll be able to get that removed, as the game does seem overly harsh with track limit penalties under the safety car, so he might have a go at getting that removed under the stewards. If things stayed as they are at the moment, this would be enough to give Haas the Constructors Championship, with Kieski obviously being the only Mercedes in the points. But there's a long way to go, and Loney's strategy could prove to be very interesting. He's not going to have the pace in the early stages, especially seeing as Giggs and Jon Palainen are on the medium tyres, and they'll be going another 15 laps, possibly 20 laps now, given that the safety car is out on circuit. And you can see Thyman just trying to keep some heat in those soft tyres. He doesn't want Aero and Jordan Polska catching him out at the start. I think it wouldn't surprise me if Limbo's accident was something down to connection issues. When I went on board with him in qualifying, he was lagging quite severely, so he may have all of a sudden found himself on a different part of the track to what he expected to be.
Yeah, meanwhile, we can expect right here... there you go. That's what I was about to say. We can expect right here for the safety car in this lap message to pop up. And I was about to say either this lap or the next one, and it just popped up. So, from this point on, Thyman controls the tempo. As soon as it says a green flag in the top left, there is a bug sometimes with the game, and I think as soon as it says green flag, that's when the cars get racing again. Thyman now pushing the throttle. That wasn't a good restart, because Aero's right on his back here, and he's not the only one. Jordan Polska's there. Suso's already pushing against Samuel Bean, trying to take the position. They come together, and Suso, trying to hold the car there, does so quite well. And Kieski now around the outside, getting the position off of Suso. And then we have Johan also putting pressure on the Spaniard, but to no avail. However, Johan now getting overtaken by Furhan round the outside. Fantastic move there from the Renault driver. Up into P7 he goes.
Yeah, great move by Furhan. Aero had to go round the outside of Thyman as well. We saw Thyman getting a bit lively coming out of the centre S. That's why he was warming his tyres up so much. He wanted to get a bit more temperature in. Suso does have damage to his front wing. Looking at Samuel Bean, I think he managed to get away with that incident, but that's twice he's been banging wheels with someone when getting overtaken. He's really finding it a bit difficult here. The cars seem to be coming to him left, right and centre, but it's still Thyman, Aero, Jordan Polska. It wasn't the best restart from the Haas, but he just about got away with it. No one managing to get ahead of him now. Jordan Polska in the slipstream of Aero. No DRS until the start of lap 8. As it is 2 laps again. Once the safety car comes in, he's having to hold station this time around as Furhan dives down the inside of Suso at the centre S and manages to just about hold it, but he's compromised his line. Suso trying to go all the way around the outside, and I think Johan's going to try and get himself involved. We're going to be 3 wide here coming down the Retta Aposta. Who's going to get away with the advantage here? Furhan getting ahead and Johan getting past Suso as well. Wouldn't surprise me if he's going to be pit very shortly, get that front wing changed and put the hard tyres on to try and salvage something from this race.
Yeah, 3 wide into turn 4. Something had to give. Thankfully, Suso was the first one to pull out. Johan was the second to pull out on the inside there. And Furhan taking both of those positions. And I gotta say, I think it was a smart call there from both Suso and Johan to just go, you know what, we're not going to try 3 wide through the corner, or even 2 wide through the corner, because it isn't a corner that lends itself to side-by-side action, really. As you mentioned before, it falls away, it's off camber. And it doesn't really work that way. So good on all 3 drivers, especially Johan and Suso, for pulling out of that one.
Yeah, DRS enabled this time around, so the first time they will be able to use it is on that straight heading down to turn 4. Suso, you can see how much he's dropping back. Iamotti, he'll be having a look at the Williams now, but we're still in DRS range. Johan will be looking at Furhan as well up ahead, because I don't think the Renault is going to have the DRS. No, but Johan too far behind, and Iamotti not able to get close enough. So there's a front 5 beginning to get away now from Furhan. That is, you've got the two Hassers in first and fourth, Aero second in the Williams. The Red Bull of Jordan Polska is third, and Kiski, the champion, just hanging back in 5th place at the moment. Didn't win the championship probably by being outright fastest at all the races. Just when he did have the pace, he's made full use of it with those 3 wins in a row earlier on in the season. We've seen actually now Dynastics, he's managed to sneak past Iamotti there. So I think Iamotti was too busy focusing on the Williams ahead. He's not paid attention to behind, and Dynastics says, thank you very much, I will take that 9th place off you for now, trying to get some points for the Red Bull team, and he's going to try and catch up to Suso now, who will not have DRS this time around, just dropping too far back. Aero, you can see he's got some good pace at the moment as we start lap 9. He's still in 2nd place, the pole sitter. Can he take his first victory of the season and make it 8 wins out of 8? Dynastics not close enough into the centre S to have a go at Suso, and he's dropped back a bit. Don't think he's going to be close enough to have a go into the Decido de Largo either at turn 4. So we're just getting these mini DRS trains sort of making it difficult, because we've said it many times already, turn 4 is not the easiest corner to overtake, and you've really got to be close into turn 1 or extremely brave on the brakes like Furhan was earlier to get a move done there.
Yeah, meanwhile, you talked earlier about how Furhan was a little bit off the top 5. Well, he had DRS for both of the last DRS zones, and he is not exactly on the back of Kiski, but he is close enough to probably get DRS on this lap as well. Let's see. Ooh, not a good final corner there. Oh, this is going to be close. Will he have the DRS? I don't even know. No, he does not. Wow. I think that was 1,000th of a second that he didn't get it by. There is, thankfully, a mini sector right on the DRS detection point, and that put Furhan under pressure there, and Johan says, thank you very much, I'll take the position and try to close in on the top 5. So Johan now up to 6th place. However, Furhan might come back at him here on the back straight, has to do it the long way around, and does so. Fantastic stuff from Furhan there. A little bit of a slide on the exit, but makes the move stick, and back up to 6th place Furhan goes.
Yeah, and you can see just getting the exit wrong out of Young South cost Furhan a second in the end. He got overtaken by Johan. He's managed to get the place back, but he's dropped back a bit further behind Kiski now. Suso has come into the pits, and he has gone for the medium tyres. He might struggle to get those to last towards the end of the race. He's going to have to do 27 laps on them at the moment. Out in front, you've still got these 5 cars, not really able to separate them. Flyman doing a good job at the front, managing to keep his ERS at a respectable level, as you would expect through the middle sector. You're not really going to be wanting to be charging out of those corners. It's very easy to spin the wheels up, but the front 3, nothing much to separate them at the moment. One slight mistake could leave them tumbling down the order as Johan's back past Furhan for 6th position. This could be a carbon copy of last time around as Furhan tries to get underneath the rear wing of the Toro Rosso. I don't think he's quite as close as he was last time around, but he's still possibly going to have a chance. But no,
nope,
not going.
He's not trying. He's not trying. He is on no ERS deployment on the whole back straight. He did not even attempt it. He opened the DRS, obviously, because that helps, you know, yourself be faster. But he wasn't trying. He did not intend from the very beginning to overtake Johan back. I think, at this point, it's a strategic decision for him to say, you know what, Johan seems fast. Let's see if he can close back in on those top 5 and close the gap to the likes of Kiski, Sammy Bean, and the 3 VRT drivers up front.
Yeah, we'll see if Johan can drag Furhan, Dynastics, Iamotic, Giggs, and Pasty all along with him. They're all within a second. Loney currently in 12th place, and it doesn't look like he's really enjoying those hard tyres. A barrel load of understeer there, heading onto the pit straight as Furhan into the pits, and Iamotti as well. We're seeing the first couple of pit stops maybe a bit earlier than what we expected, especially given the fact there was a safety car period, so the The first scheduled pit stops for those drivers who didn't have any damage all went through it under the safety car. Medium tyres on both. Again, I still think they're going to struggle for pace at the end of the race.
Yeah, could very well happen. I think, especially with the safety car, you want to use the soft tyres for as long as you can, and switching after just 11 laps is a tad bit early, I think. But we'll see how they do. And it could be that they have been struggling to keep the tyre temperature in control. Maybe the tyres were overheating a little bit, and so they decided to get rid of them. I don't know ultimately, but we'll see what the top 7 are going to do now. Some of them are going to come in at the end of lap 12. I expected the pit window to be between lap 14 and 16. Thyman stays out, Aero, Jordan Polska, Sammy, yeah, they all stay out. Johan comes in, fearing the undercut, I think, and Dynastics as well. I think this is not driven by, oh yeah, this is when we plan to pit. I think this is really just the fear of the undercut by Furhan and by Iamotti.
Yeah, definitely, because on that lap, Suso was the fastest person on track as Furhan manages to get past Jumpalainen, so he is up into 11th. Will he find his way up into 9th place at the moment? You've got Johan and Dynastics coming out of the pit lane now. It's going to be close because Furhan will be able to carry a bit more speed around here. I think he's going to get ahead of Dynastics, but Johan is still going to have that 9th position. So the undercut not really working for Furhan there. I think getting stuck behind Jumpalainen didn't help, and Iamotti's actually dropped a long way back from these guys now, so not really an ideal time to pit for Furhan there. It's cost him slightly, but Johan with the 1 lap fresher tyres, how much can he now close onto those drivers ahead of him, given that we expect it to maybe be another couple of laps before we see the leaders come into the pit. So all roughly around half a second away from each other, these top 5, all staying out this time around, so we don't have to worry about any of the cars behind them. Giggs might have to start worrying soon about Pasties on those hard tyres. These guys in 6th and 7th position. Expect this to be a battle for the lead very shortly.
Yeah, and Luke, I'm going to tell you right now, if I was Kiski, I'd just throw the other 4 drivers ahead, a little bit of a curveball. At the end of this lap, I'd come in, try to undercut them, try to just see, you know, what they're going to do, and force their hand a little bit, because right now that 14 to 16 is as I said the pit window that we expected, and so Kiski at the end of lap 14 would make sense, but you know, maybe his strategy is a little bit different if it was 15-16, which he may have planned. I don't know what he planned, but if he planned 15 or 16, I would just pull it forward a lap or 2, do it right now. Let's see if anyone comes in, and just try the undercut on everyone else. Because if Kiski, let's see, they all stay out. No, they all stay out. Wow. If Kiski comes in, he would come out behind Loney, but ahead of Johan, way ahead of Johan. We're talking 3 seconds ahead of Johan. So he has nothing to worry about in that regard. He would have a lot of fresh air in front of him, about 7 seconds actually of clear air, and you know, just try to do your lap times until the others come in. But Kiski decides against it maybe at the end of this lap.
Yeah, maybe, or of the opposite, if everyone else starts coming into the pits, maybe stay out for an extra lap or 2 longer, knowing that you'll lose a bit of time, but you'll have fresher medium tyres towards the end of the race. We've seen Dynastics manage to get ahead of Furhan, find a final points position. Jumpalainen, we said he's always in and around the points, he's really struggling at the moment today. The Ferrari way down at the bottom of the field in 14th and last position. Are we going to see any of these front drivers come into the pits? Diamond, Aero, Jordan Polska, Samuel Bean, Kiski. They're all
Thyman, no! Oh, the dummy! Thyman with the dummy! Fakes coming into the pits, then stays out, and everyone else comes in! He just faked everyone out!
Clever driving. Suso, I think the person who was caught out there, not Suso, sorry, was Samuel Bean. He braked so late, he's got himself a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That will be added at the end of the race. We've got a bit of a pit lane race here, and Kiski has managed to jump Samuel Bean. So pitting the same as these guys, has managed to gain him a place. Where are they going to come out relative to Johan? Like you said, Austin, he's not really in the picture to get ahead of them. So good work from the pit crews there, especially from Mercedes. Got Kiski up ahead of Samyabin into what is now a net 4th position, 7th at the moment. But of course, there's Pasties and Loney up ahead as well. How will their hard tyres do? You'd expect these guys to be caught up by those behind, but it's already proven that the Interlagos circuit not exactly the easiest to make an overtake on. Surely this will be the lap when Thyman now heads into the pits. He could be under pressure from those behind because the mediums are definitely the tyres to be on at the moment. And yet Thyman coming in from the lead of the race. Hopefully he doesn't speed like his teammate now. He's got it slowed down enough, so that is going to give Giggs the lead of the race now in the racing point, but he's got Pasties all over the back of him as we start lap 17. And is the Renault going to go for a move down the inside towards the centre S nodes? Thinks better of it.
Yeah, at this point, really, for Pasties, it's about just getting the lap times down, not trying to get into too much fighting. If the opportunity is there and it's obvious, then yeah, go for the move. But other than that, I wouldn't really try too much. As long as Giggs doesn't hold him up too much, I think Pasties is very content to stay behind to save his tires a little bit as well. But I think, since you mentioned that Thyman did not speed into the pit lane like Samyabin did, maybe that's what caught Samyabin out. Because obviously, if your teammate is the leader of the race and you're just a second behind him in what was at the time 4th place, and he fakes going into the pit lane, you have to make the decision right then and there that you do the opposite of what your teammate does, because you don't want to double stack. And if he doesn't go in, you go in. If he does go in, you have to stay out. So maybe that's what caught Samyabin a little bit off guard there, and that's why he sped into the pit lane, which maybe there's going to be some words to be had between the two Haas drivers after the race.
Yeah, who knows? Haas obviously still going for that Constructors Championship at the moment. Mercedes will take it with 3rd and 7th compared to the 4th and 8th for the Haas team. Kiski, fastest man on circuit now. And you can see Kiski has dropped back a bit from Jordan Polska, and Samyabin has really dropped back from those guys. He's now got Johan all over the back of him, who's just picked up a penalty. In 9th place on the slightly older tyres. You see yellow flags in Sector 3, and that is Suso, who has retired in the pit lane. So we're down to just 13 runners. Giggs and Pasties still in the lead of this race with Loney in 3rd, but it is Thyman, Aero, Jordan Polska, Kiski, Samyabin. That is where we expect the lead battle to be as we're nearing the halfway point of this race.
Yeah, and the gap is coming down more and more between Thyman and Loney. Last lap for Loney was a 111.7 for Thyman. Well, he was just in the pits. Let's take Aero. 110.7. 1 whole second is the difference between these cars. Thyman pretty much on the same pace there, obviously, as Aero and Jordan Polska then. And so you can expect them to catch up to the back of that Mercedes probably throughout the course of this lap 19, maybe towards the end, maybe into Jungsal, maybe on the long start finish straight, including the 3 corners that aren't really corners. But just about there is when Thyman should catch up, as Motti retires as well, also in the pit lane. So we are now down to 12 runners, and Jumpalainen might in fact get more points once again. If that trend continues, Jumpalainen might very well find himself inside the top 10.
Yeah, and they really caught catching Loney up at probably the worst part of the track. You can't get past anyone in this middle sector, so Thyman will obviously get DRS this time around. A lot could depend on the race here about how quickly they manage to clear this Mercedes at the moment, as he's gone very deep there.
Yeah.
Thyman not quite close enough, but he'll have a much better exit. DRS will be open when he's able to. He should just sweep past the Mercedes, who sticks to the inside line. He's going to defend it ever so slightly, but I don't think he's going to be able to do much about it. Is Aero going to be able to follow his way through as he sets the fastest lap of the race?
Loney
going for it on Thyman.
Ooh.
That pushes Thyman, right? He's managed to get through. I think Aero's nearly gone into the back of Loney as well. Jordan Polska close it up. He goes round the outside, so they've managed to get ahead. That has really compromised Thyman's exit, as he's now having to push Aero to the outside. Aero gets ahead, takes the lead. net lead of this race. Thyman down to a net second. I don't think I'll be too happy with Loney there, but what this has allowed is Kiski just to catch up ever so slightly. Maybe a bit of team play from the Mercedes guys.
Could very well be, however, they need some more team play here as John Polska and Thyman go side by side there through turn 8. They need some more team play here with Loney effectively just pulling out of the way for Kiski. Otherwise, he's holding him up. Right now, it still works as Loney is still on the back of the other of the pack here of the 3 other VRT drivers. It's quite interesting to see VRT being in 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Effectively, I wouldn't say even that Aero's in the net lead of the race right now, because we still have Pasty there, who is going not just for the net lead of the race, but for the lead of the race now. He's had enough of gigs. He says, you know what, you're holding me up now with 20-lap old mediums. I'll take that lead and I'll drive away from you, which I would expect Pasty to do. Gigs is a little bit too far away for an attack into turn 4. Doesn't even try. No ERS deployment on the back straight. And happy to sit behind. I think the pit window for Gigs is now wide open. And meanwhile, Thyman is back ahead of Aero.
Yeah, Thyman got ahead on the run down to the ZRSs. Kiski getting ahead of Loney as well on the back straight. So, don't think there was too much team play going on there, but he has definitely helped him catch right up to these. So, we've got a 4-way battle for 3rd place at the moment. I think Jordan Polska just gives Aero a slight little tap. The important question is, can they catch up to Pasty? 4.5 seconds to gap at the moment, 15 laps remaining. You'd expect those mediums to wear down quicker than the hards, but obviously he has been on them hards an incredibly long time, and this has allowed Samuel Bean and Johan just to close the gap up ever so slightly. So it's going to get very interesting towards the final stages of this race, because we know Pasty defends for his life. Giggs comes into the pits, he will drop outside the points into 11th, but he's going to be on the soft tyres towards the end of this race, so expect him to be flying. So this now on screen, see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars all within a few tenths of each other going for that 2nd place, and you've got Pasty just over 4 seconds ahead. You see him just going round turn 4 there as Thyman coming around that corner. Aero, Jordan Polska following through. Kiski, Loney obviously dropping back on his hard tyres. He's not finding the same pace on them as Pasty's managed to do out in front, and then Samuel Bean, Johan battling for 7th and 8th, Fairhan and Dynastics in the final points positions.
Yeah, what's going to be crucial now for the VRT drivers here in 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 6th, as well as Loney, as well as Kiski in 5th, is that they work together. They have to catch up to Pasty right now. That is their number 1 goal, because, I mean, you can start fighting for 2nd place right now and hand Pasty the win if you want to, but none of them want to. They all want to win, obviously. And so right now they have to work together, not much fighting, more, you know, just staying in line, making sure that whoever is the guy ahead, right now it's Thyman, stays ahead, does not get a compromised line whatsoever, because that costs you time, it costs the other cars in the queue, in the train time, and all that helps, or everyone that helps, is Pasty and no one else, and they cannot do that. 4 seconds the gap, and Pasty has some really good pace with those old hard tires. It's quite surprising, I have to say. He is still lapping in the 111.0s. That is surprising. The other cars, Thyman 110.7, Aero 110.7, Jordan Polska 110.7, so they're 3/10 quicker. That's going to be close. That's going to be really close. If we're talking 14 laps, 3/10, that will be 4.2 seconds, but you can't forget, the mediums wear out quicker.
Yeah, so obviously that tyre advantage is going to go down, so I think they're going to need to get on the back of him possibly by lap 30, otherwise they're going to find it harder and harder, and they have got the gap down now to 3.3 seconds. Pasty yet to win a race, yet to finish any higher than 8th position, which he has done on 3 occasions this season. Aero yet to win a race, so we could very well have our 8th different winner in 8 races here in AOR F2. Who's going to take the checkered flag, though, is pretty much anyone's guess at the moment. You've got Pasty in the lead, and Thyman, Aero, Jordan Polska, Kiski, Loney just dropping back now, with Samuel Bean and Johan at the moment unable to get past him. As you see, Dynastics and Fairhand swapping places once again. That was at turn PS4, and it looks like these guys are doing what you said, just working together, not really going for the overtakes at the moment, because we saw earlier when Johan and Furhan were battling just how much time that cost you to the car in front.
Yeah, exactly. And ultimately, you are racing. When you race, you have effectively three opponents. One, I've lost connection. But I'm just going to continue. You have three opponents. You have the guy in front of you, or the guys in front of you, who you're trying to catch up. Maybe a guy you're battling with in front or behind. You have the guys that are not in your direct, direct environment, and you have the time. And if you battle with the guys around you, you're losing A against the time and B against the guys who are not around you. So you always have to keep that in mind. Right now, they're trying to catch up to the leader, and the best way to do that is not fight. You can fight once lap 33, 34 comes around. You have 3 or 4 laps left in the race. That's when you can start battling. That's when you can start fighting it out. That's when, the race is settled down. You have, where you're going to end up most likely. Kind of an area, like P1 to P5 or so. That's when you can start fighting. But right now, if you battle now, that means that P1 is gone.
Yeah, definitely. So they are doing the right thing at the moment. Samuel Bean's managed to make his way past Loney for 6th and 7th place. You've got Johan now trying to get ahead. See there, fastest lap at the race at the moment was Aero. That's just been beaten by Jordan Polska, taking advantage of the DRS, and they are quickly beginning to eat into the lead that Pasties has got. It is now down to just 1.7 seconds, and you can see there Simon in 2nd place at the moment. He must be feeling pretty confident, but we've seen already, just because you're catching up to the car in front, and even if you've got fresher tyres, as Loney has proved with those behind him, it's not necessarily a gimme that you'll get past, as Johan finally manages to get ahead. Loney way off the circuit. Is he going to have a go down the inside into Ferragora? No, unless you're side by side there, that is just going to end in an accident, and I think Loney realised that and backs off. He is down to 8th position at the moment. As things stand at the moment as well, Mercedes would take the Constructors Championship. If Simon got into the lead of this race, that would still be the case, and obviously Samuel Bean has that 5-second penalty to add on. So it's looking good for Mercedes for the championship. Not quite sure though who's going to take the victory. Haas might still end this season with 3 wins on the bounce. Simon just over a second behind now. He has the fastest lap of the race. Kiski quickly taking that off in. They're flying on these medium tyres at the moment. Definitely no tyre preservation going on with the guys in 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th. Just further back for 9th and 10th. These two seem to have been battling ever since they came out the pit lane. Nose to tail. Furhan getting back ahead of Dynastics for that 9th position. Dynastics is going to try and fight back, but he's too far behind this time around. I think Simon's probably going to be too far behind Pasties going on to lap 28, but maybe on the back straight or onto lap 29, that is where you could see him make the move for the lead of this race.
Yeah, I'm not sure. They're still in the middle of what I always like to call the infield around here, because really it feels like an oval if you get out of Jungsao and then all the way to turn 4, maybe even turn 6 if you want to be like that, and then you have the infield from Ferradura all the way to Jungsao, and now they've left the infield really. And yeah, he's a little bit too far away right now, but he does have the DRS to close up. And maybe into turn 4 there's an opportunity for Simon to go past. I don't think that's too far-fetched. If he wants to try that, that needs to be said really. It might be that, what I said before, if you're fighting right now, you're still inviting everyone who's behind. And yeah, Simon, no ERS deployment. He doesn't want to fight with Pasties right now. Pasties still has good pace, and it's a little bit too early right now. And right now you have 5 cars pretty much in this battle all the way down to Kiski, and Sammy Bean is a little bit further away. Maybe if I was Simon, I'd actually start battling to try and slow the rest of the field down, the rest of this pack, so Sammy Bean can catch back up and maybe Haas can still win the championship.
Yeah, once they start battling, that could easily happen. Samuel Bean just 6 seconds off the lead. You've got the top 8 cars all within 8 seconds, and we've only got 8 laps to go at the end of this one. As you can see on board with Kiski, just how close everyone is at the front of this race. Is this going to be the time maybe when Thyman goes for the move? He's using more ERS. See DRS opening as well on the Haas. Pasty, I feel he's going to have to go defensive. He's just left the door wide open. Diamond says thank you very much, takes the lead of this race. Pasty not able to fight back. That's really compromised his exit. That is going to leave him in trouble. Aero trying to go all the way round the outside. He'll get underneath the rear wing of that Renault, who's still leaving a bit of a door open on the inside. That's going to invite Aero, not this time around, to have an overtake. And Thyman, that could be the move that wins him this race, because he will just be able to pull away on the infield. Aero, Jordan Polska and Kiesi are going to find it really difficult at this point to get past Pasty.
Yeah, that for one. The question is, however, how much can Thyman pull away? Because Pasty still with pretty good lap times, needs to be said. After 25 and a half laps of those hard tires, still constant. Oh, Aero pushing Pasty through the corner there. Does he have damage? I can't see it yet. Let's see. It seems fine on the front wing. Yep. Oh, but he pushes him multiple times there. Oh, this is getting really close there between Aero and Pasty. Aero, Pasty, look at how far Thyman has pulled away now. Here goes Aero, gets squeezed a little bit. There goes John Polska around the outside, and Pasty must feel like Ricardo Zonta. There goes another one. Kiski down the inside. 3 cars. That is more than Zonta had to deal with.
Yeah, I think in 2001, Coulthard and Schumacher did that with Tarso Marquez around here. It was almost like a copy of the Zonta one. And now Kiski underneath Jordan Polska. Is he going to try and go down the inside into turn 4?
They touch it, he spins. Kiski. Oh, Kiski and Pasty also made contact there. Significant contact. Pasty now with front wing damage on the right side of the front wing. Does the same go for Kiski? Yes, left side. Left side front wing damage for Kiski, and that might throw the Constructors Championship wide open again.
Yeah, Thyman now in the lead of this race. Sammy Bean has dropped down to 7th. Johan managing to get ahead, but I imagine they're both going to get past Kiski and Pasty, who, if you thought he was having a tough job keeping his pace up with 26 lap old tyres, it's going to be even more difficult. And getting ahead was crucial for Thyman. Aero and Pasty ended up doing a bit of an Albon Hamilton carbon copy there. With the difference, Pasty was just about able to hold on, but that cost them about 3 seconds all that battling. And now with 6 seconds to go, Thyman 2.8 seconds in the lead of this race. Jordan Polska all over the back of Aero for 2nd and 3rd position. And Johan, he's going to be trying to make his way past Kiski as well. Can the champion of this season hold on to 5th position? It's going to be tough, especially in that middle sector. Pasty and Kiski are going to be losing chunks of time around there. And if they hold all these guys up, that could allow Loney, Furhan, Dynastics, even Giggs could manage to catch his way up on those soft tyres. He's only 18 seconds off the lead of this race, and that's not good enough to get him a point at the moment, as Johan chucks it down the inside of Kiski. The Mercedes saw him coming, and I think Johan's going to try and hold it all the way around the outside. Not able to do so for now. Is that going to allow Samuel Bean to have a chance? Not this time around. Pasty doing a good job coping with that front wing damage. I think he's coping with it better than Kiski is at the moment, but they're definitely holding each other up, and that is going to allow Loney to get right back involved with it. I think Johan's just tapped Kiski ever so slightly there coming out of Young Sao, but they'll get away with it. There's 5 laps to go here in Brazil. It looks as if he keeps it clean. It's going to be a 2nd win in a row for Thyman. All the other places, though, anyone's guess at the moment how this race is going to end up finishing up, as Johan almost thinks about sending it down the inside. That's just going to compromise your line. Samuel Bean might have a go back, but he's done pretty well. You can see Kiski just drifting wide there with the understeer, and Dynastics has spun at the centre S, and that does allow Giggs up into the points, and Johan not able to get past Kiski this time around. They're finding it pretty hard to get past these guys, and if Haas want to get the Constructors Championship, they need Samuel Bean to start making his way up, as Johan nearly loses it there.
Yeah, I think he's ending it. Oh, Kiski's closing that off though. And there goes Sammy Bean round the outside of Johan. Fantastic opportunity taken by the Spaniard there. Sammy Bean up to P6, and now he's trying to get Kiski. Now the current situation with the points is Haas, if the race finishes like that, not regarding the penalty for Sammy Bean. If he makes it past these two and clears them by 5 seconds, then we wouldn't have to bother anyway. But right now, if he's in P6, that would be for Haas 33 points, and Mercedes would get 14. There goes Sammy Bean past Kiski round the outside, and that is that position down. Johan tries to follow down the inside, not able to. Sammy Bean up to P5. So right now, let's reverse a little bit here. 35 points for Haas. And what is that? 4 and 8, 12. That would be a tie
and
on points.
Most importantly,
if they finish like this.
Diamond has the fastest lap. That is 36 points.
Wow.
So if it finished as it is, we know Sam Yaveen's got that penalty, but if he gets ahead of Pasty and manages to just streak away in the final few laps, this could be enough for Haas to just sneak the championship at the moment. This is going to be a very exciting end to the season, to the Brazilian Grand Prix. And it's getting a bit overcast, so who knows, maybe the weather gods will just throw all the water down on the circuit at this point, because that is the last thing the drivers would want, but definitely makes it fun for us commentators and spectators. Sam Yaveen right underneath Pasty at the moment. He's going to have DRS. This could be very tough, I think, for the Renault driver to be able to defend his position. He's still on for his best finish of the season. And there you go. Sam Yaveen's just going to go all the way around the outside. Should get it done before the corner. Johan doing the same with Kiski as well. And Loney following through as well. So that is Mercedes now 7th and 8th. That is only 10 points that they are going to get. And I can't see how Loney can move up any further with such old tyres. Maybe if Pasties completely fall off, but obviously he's on the same age as well. So Haas looking good here. It could all depend on how far ahead can Sam Yaveen get. He's currently, if it finished as it is at the moment, he would drop down to 9th position. That is assuming none of the other drivers behind him have penalties, of course.
I'm going to check this right now. Let's look at the front at first. No penalty for Thyman. No penalty for Aero. No penalty for Jordan Polska. 8 seconds for Sam Yaveen. 3 seconds for Pasty. 3 seconds for Johan. 6 seconds for Loney. No penalties for Kiski. That might save Mercedes in the end. And Furhan, no penalty either. And then let's look at Giggs just to round out the top 10. 3 seconds.
Yeah, and I said it might be hard for Loney to get past Pasty. Both himself and Johan have managed to do it. The Mercedes going way off the grass there. I'll be surprised if he's allowed to keep that position. And here Pasty has just about got ahead. This battling is going to slow them both down, and Pasty just ahead for now. Loney not able to go down the inside, really locking up his tyres. Kiski nearly crashed into the back of his teammate, and Furhan's really catching up to these guys. And what did I say about maybe the weather gods? I thought I saw a few spots of rain there, but I think I'm just getting hopeful in the final couple of laps.
There are no raindrops coming down just yet. Usually I always like to watch these races on board if I'm not the one in charge of the camera, which thankfully tonight, as most nights, I'm not. Only if there's technical difficulties on Luke's, and that's when I'm usually the one to step in. But yeah, I'm gonna yell and scream the moment I see the first raindrops. But so far, none are coming down, and we are on the final lap of the race. And Jordan Polska goes for second place. Aero, however, has none of it and tries to hold it, and they touch, and Aero in the wall.
These two crashed into each other on the last lap in Austria, and it's happened again this time. I think Aero's come worse off, and Sam Yaveen now right behind him. Aero's got a damaged front wing. So if Aero's got such huge damage, Sam Yaveen could get well ahead of him. Aero could drop way down the field. This is... we're not even going to try and work out who's going to win the Constructors Championship, I think, until we get right to the end and see how far Sam Yaveen drops. At the moment, I think he dropped down to round about 6th, 7th place. Aero with huge damage. I'm sure they'll be talking to each other as Johan now dives down the inside. You can see the wheels locking on them old tyres. Pasty gets himself a penalty while all this chaos is happening behind him. Thyman rounds the final corner to head towards the finish line. Victories in AOR clearly come like London buses. You wait ages for one and then two come at once at the end of the season. Thyman takes the victory in the final round. It's another podium as a reserve for Jordan Polska, and we're going to wait to see how everything settles down here. Sam Yaveen is going to cross the line in 3rd place, but I think Johan might just steal that. In fact, Kiski might even end up on the podium here, given how close all the time is on. Kiski's fourth, Aero third in the end, so didn't lose too much position-wise. And as I quickly checked to see, I think, Thyman still did have the fastest lap, so I think Mercedes are still in the lead of the Constructors Championship, thanks to how all the penalties handed out there. Samuel being dropped down to 7th position, so Mercedes just about holding on to their lead in the Constructors. So Kiski doing the double this season, Thyman doing the double in terms of race wins at the end. P1 in Austria, P1 here today in Brazil, 5 podiums in a row. He'll be hoping he can keep that form on to the next game, and it is another VRT 1-2-3.
And not just that, also a Dutch 1-2-3. I don't think we've ever seen that in the real F1. I couldn't even think of 3 Dutch drivers. I can think of 2, and they're both from the Verstappen family. So I couldn't think of a third one. But 3 Dutch drivers there, 3 VRT drivers. Just remarkable performances from them. Let's see. Kiski 4th. I think that alone should seal it. Even though Sammy Bean is in 7th and Loney down in 10th. Dynastics might actually get promoted up, because remember that 10-second penalty, doesn't even make a difference. He's 11 seconds behind Loney. So that's 1 and 12. That's 13 for Mercedes. And 1, 2, for 6, 32. That's 19. They are 4 points short.
4 points
short. If Sammy Bean could somehow appeal maybe that 3-second time penalty, he would gain enough to turn it around for Haas. If he has gotten that 3-second time penalty unjustly, then he could turn it around, but only then. He would have to prove that some of those warnings were not accurate. And I doubt that that's going to be the case. Around here, around Brazil, there aren't that many issues. In fact, I don't think there are any issues with the track limits being inconsistent on this game. So, Mercedes getting the Constructors Championships 4 points ahead of Haas. That is about as close as you'll ever see a championship go on the final race of the season.
Yeah, I think that final race was pretty much, if you'd have said sum up AOR, PS4, F2 in one race, that was it. We saw fantastic racing all the way throughout the field. How close it was, just shown by how many places Loney and Samuel Bean lost with penalties in the end. Kiski managed to keep it clean enough to get 4th position. It'll be interesting to see if there's any repercussions after that incident with Jordan Polska that could have very easily ended Kiski race and Pasties race, because that was a huge hit from the Renault on to the Mercedes driver. Pasties still doing well to finish in the points. Fairhan as well. Giggs getting his first points for quite a long time. But Thyman, if he keeps his form onto the next F1 game, F1 2020, he is going to be some driver to watch. That's 5 podiums in a row now, I believe.
Yes, it is. He reminds me a little bit of what Jack Eater did at the end of last season, of season 18, where he had, I think, 7 podiums in a row. It's pretty... Jack Eater was pretty good, but he didn't... No, it was Marco Kriesman, there you go, who had, I think, also 5 or 6 podiums in a row. I was just very, very strong. It wasn't enough to win the championship in the end. He came close, didn't win it. But we've seen Marco Kriesman this season being pretty much nowhere. He did have a 4th place in Britain. He did have a 5th place in China, but that was about it. Other than that, nowhere better than 9th. He did have a lot of fastest laps, though, 2 inside the top 10 and 3 outside. So pretty much almost half of the season in terms of fastest laps went to Marco Kriesman. So he has the pace, he just didn't have the consistency this time around. But yeah, this, I don't think, unfortunately for Thyman, I don't think finishing a season on 5 podiums in a row, 2 of them wins, guarantees anything for next season. We've seen it on the same game with Marco Kriesman, and Thyman is going to have to make the jump from F1 2019 to F1 2020, so that makes it even harder to replicate that kind of a form.
Yeah, and there will obviously be a bit of a break now in the season, so he'll need to keep himself fresh. Kiski, though, obviously we've got to talk about him as the champion, finishing 4th in that race with Thyman winning. I think means Kiski won the championship by 12 points in the end. It was those 3 wins in a row. He's just been Mr. Consistent, lowest finish of 8th place in the races he's taken part in. Just a fantastic job all round. After he'd got that lead in the championship, just didn't do anything ridiculous, did what he needed to secure the win.
Yeah. Ultimately, a fantastic season. I have to say, all 12 races were really, really close, really entertaining, and I'm really looking forward to F1 2020. And I don't want to wait. I can't wait, but unfortunately, we all are going to have to wait.
Yeah, June the 10th it comes out. July the 10th. Sorry. I was going to say, if Schumacher Edition comes out on June the 7th, we've really got some issues and we need to get it ourselves very quickly.
Yeah, right now.
Right now. Like, goodbye, everyone. I'm just going to nip down to the shops that aren't open yet and break my way in. But
well, thankfully you can get it digitally.
Yeah, please do not do that, anyone. Don't want to get blamed for any possible break-ins.
Yeah, better not.
Yeah, fantastic season all around from the drivers, and they've shown tonight how skilled they are, and I think me and Austin are glad that we're sitting here watching them rather than trying to race with them, because we'd have been lapped about 4 or 5 times, I feel, in both races. Yeah,
definitely. That's why we are the commentators, that's why we are not racing here. The one commentator that I feel like doesn't go for is probably Owen Wyatt, because he's a pretty good driver. Apart from that, every commentator I've ever seen drive, yeah, it goes about as you would expect.
Yeah, normally you have like one commentator who's the standard commentator and one who's an ex-driver who did something with their careers. That doesn't work for sim racing. We're both people who didn't really do anything with driving. Well, that's why we're here.
So hold on. I used to be good. I back in the day on R Factor, I used to win championships. R Factor 1 needs to be said, not R Factor 2. I'm old, okay? But I did win a couple championships back in the day.
There you go.
Now, F1 2019 with a pad, I'm not that good. But back in the day when I had a wheel, yeah, participated in 24-hour Le Mans races, got a 2nd place there. With about the best drivers at the time that you could get from the German, Austrian, Swiss region. And, you know, I wasn't bad. I'm just not good at F1 2019.
I don't know how anyone's good on any F1 game with a pad, to be honest. That amazes me even more than the pace of those guys with the wheels, I think. And I hope you guys at home have been amazed by all the racing we've brought to you over the last 14 weeks, I believe, started at Bahrain seems like a long time ago. It's been thoroughly enjoyable to bring you the action alongside Austin. If you do want to get your final fix of AOR F1 action for a bit, check out the Xbox One race, which is live now, their season finale. They're currently just, I think, coming up towards the start of the race, near the end of qualifying. But you can check out that stream now live on the AOR channel. As I said, they're just in the final seconds of qualifying. And now, thank you so much for watching. Remember to check out AOR as well throughout the week for all different racing, Project Cars, iRacing, all the lots. And myself and Austin, hopefully, we'll see you again in a few weeks' time for some action on F1 2020. Remember to check out the forums for all the information about the calendar and when the sign-up dates for that will be. And from myself and Austin, thanks for being a fantastic audience over the entire season. We will see you shortly. Good night.